I think we all need a bit of light relief actually. So I'm going to read some Betjemann, John Betjemann. I love his poetry. Very much Anglican, slightly camp, upper middle class, very southern, very home counties, suburbia. Very different from a northern girl like me. As a northerner, I've got a typical sort of chip on my shoulder about the south, the metropolitan area. But Betjemann, to me, God rest him, represented the best of the old upper middle class. He was a good man. His Anglicanism was worn very light. He had a terrific sense of humour. He loved hobnobbing with the country house set, but he was no snob, and he had a fantastic sense of class and social differences. And I think he reminds me of a gentler time in England. I love the humour. I love that suburban humour. The illustration of, I saw a bit of that in my childhood, the holidays in the 50s. Nobody had much money, but we had a lot of fun, and I think there was a lot of gentility, there was a lot of snobbery in a less harsh way than there is today, I think. It was probably the last of the Victorian days really when I was brought up. But Betjemann he was a nice man actually, and I think he was, in his own way, he was probably mainly agnostic. He was a good Anglican, but he was also extremely funny, and I love his poetry. I don't know if I think it might be rather too English in a way, and I don't know if it would sort of, Americans or Canadians would probably understand the humour. Maybe Australians a bit more. So in other words, I don't know if his poetry travelled as well. But here goes. I think we need cheering up a bit. This is very much about the sort of a nouveau riche pre-war. I was going to say petit bourgeois, but it's a sort of tongue-in-cheek, gentle dig at the new rich in the 30s. How to get on in society. Phone for the fish knives, Norman, as cook is a little unnerved. You kiddies have crumpled the serviettes, and I must have things daintily served. Are the requisites all in the toilet? The frills round the cutlets can wait till the girl has replenished the cruets and switched on the logs in the grate. It's ever so close in the lounge, dear, but the vestibule's comfy for tea, and Howard is out riding on horseback, so do come and take some with me. Now here is a fork for your pastries, and do use a couch for your feet. I know what I wanted to ask you. Is trifle sufficient for sweet? Milk and then just as it comes, dear. I'm afraid the preserve's full of stones. Beg pardon, I'm soiling the doilies with afternoon tea cakes and scones. Hyacinth Bucket comes to mind actually, and her poor husband. I'm probably more. I think the humour now in England is much harsher and cruel. But I love that poem. I love that, and I love Betjeman's stuff. Sadly, I don't think we're living in very forgiving times. But sorry, sermon over.